So when I moved to um, Temabashi, which is about a block away from Osaka Jokon, about 6 years ago, there was literally nothing to do at the park other than go to the castle. In the last 6 years, we've seen a tremendous change in the park, and all through this video, I'm going to be showing you footage of new businesses and new things that tourists can spend their money on when they're here in Osaka Jokoen. So Japan's tourist scene over the last 10 years has absolutely exploded. 10 years ago, the country was getting around 10 million tourists per year. It's around 30 million tourists per year right now. By 2020, Prime Minister Abe thinks it might be in excess of 40 million tourists per year. And you know what? The video you're looking at today, this is footage of Osaka Jokoen. I think Osaka Jokoen has the right response. What they've done to respond to this explosion in tourism is they have built out new buildings and new businesses specifically to absorb the extra tourists. So instead of the castle being completely overwhelmed, now there's lots and lots of different things tourists can do in the park, spend their money, and it doesn't put so much pressure on the castle. So I want to talk about what I call the Japan paradox. Right now, the tourist centers in Japan, in Kyoto and Osaka and Tokyo and so on, are so busy with tourists, so overwhelmed that local people are actually referring to this tourism explosion as tourism pollution. Yet young people are moving from the countryside to these tourist areas to fill jobs to service the tourists that are coming. The people that are remaining in the countryside are aging, and of course the local economies are suffering, and the local governments are unable to cover all of the costs that they need to cover to keep buildings and properties open. The real irony is, when recently polled, 1 in 4 young people living in the cities in Japan would love to move to the countryside and continue their life and raise a family in the countryside. So what's the problem? Why don't they do that? The problem is that the countryside simply is not sharing the benefits of this tourism explosion. There's no jobs in the countryside. And even if you're a smart young person and you want to create your own business, there's no access to venture capital in this country, not the way there is in Silicon Valley or other places around the world, other business centers around the world. Japan is a very conservative country, especially when it comes to money. So, what do I think the solution is? Well, I think the solution is harnessing the power of blockchain, create token economies to create extra places or extra facilities that tourists can go to take pressure off of the major tourist centers. I'm not talking about getting new tourists to come to Japan. I'm talking about getting tourists who are already coming to Japan to take an extra step to try something culturally new, something culturally different in the countryside. Now, this may sound like a bit of a dream, but it's starting to happen already. Right now, there's plans underway to start a new token economy in Okinawa. Local hotel executives are currently in talks with an Osaka-based cryptocurrency exchange to create a new Okinawa-based token economy that would encourage tourists to come a little ways off the beaten path and try something culturally new in Okinawa. The long-term plan, of course, is to get more local businesses to offer special products or services for tourists and increase the size of the token economy. If you'd like to learn more about how token economies work and how they might be transforming the economies of the world in the future, check out the links below and keep your eye on this space.